Okay, we're getting ready for our first big test. So remember, on the test review, this is a little different than last year. The questions aren't exactly the same, and there's actually more questions on the test review than there are on the test. But if you understand these concepts, the test should go pretty well. I will say, having just checked homework again, guys, you've got to start marking your text. The number of you that are not answering the question fully because you're not answering the question that's asked is problematic. Again, the quiz we just did was 25 points. 10 points for the answers. 15 points for everything else supporting the answers. Your words, your full explanations. Stuff like filling out your heading in proper MLA format, including full dates and full names, not just first name. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to solve each of the problems below. They represent the types of questions on your test. Be sure to ask questions if you need more help. Our first one, determine if the representations are proportional or non-proportional. They even gave you an abbreviation to use. So for a table, what's the easiest way to find if it's proportional? Find my k values. Remember, k equals my y over x. So I can just go y over x. 5 over 2 is 2.5. 9 over 4 is 2 1/4. Is that the same? Should it have the same as 2 1/4? No. So is it proportional? No, my k values are different. If the k values are different, it's not proportional. Okay? Our next one, 1 5/10 over 3. That simplifies to 1/2. 2 5/10 over 5. That simplifies to 1/2. Are they the same? Yes. If I do 2 the same, can I call the table proportional? Yes. Technically, you really should do all of them. But if I have at least 2 of the data points that are the same, I can say that they are proportional. This one, I'm adding something to the equation.
Non-proportional.
Because will it go through origin? No. If x is 0, y is 1/2. It's not 0, 0. That is not proportional. This one, all I have is a constant. So is that proportional?
Yeah.
Yes. If I put 0 for x, I will get 0 for y. So that one is proportional. On this one, we have a negative slope. It's going down. Will it ever hit 0, 0? So is it proportional?
No.
No. What is my y-intercept?
It is
450. So is it proportional? No. You can use any of those. Did it ask you to explain your reasoning? No. So, am I going to be counting you off if you don't explain your reasoning if it doesn't say you have to? No. So that part of the test should have been really quick. Our next one, determine the constant proportionality in each of the problems below. Uh-oh, this is hard. Y equals 8x. What's my constant proportionality? 8. Is there work to show?
No.
No. That's one. There's really not anything you can't show on this. What about our next one? Well, here I'm going to go 190 over 2, which equals 95. 380 over 4, which equals 95. Is there a constant of proportionality? Yes. What is it?
95.
Is there work to show?
Yes.
Yes. If you don't have the work shown, you're getting full credit. No. Be aware of that. Restaurant has an all-you-eat buffet. They charge $13.95 per person. What is my K value?
15.95.
Guys, yes, it's that easy. Technically, a K value won't have a dollar sign on it. If it puts a dollar sign, I wouldn't count it off. Yes?
What if you put 15.95 on the wall?
I would take that, but it should be in simplest form. K value should be in simplest form whenever possible. Okay, our next one. Again, go to where I have a point that hits exactly at a line. So that gives me 80 over 2, which would equal 40. So my K value is 40. Was there work to show on that one?
Yes.
Yes. Because at the 1, I can't really say exactly that is 1. I probably would not give you full credit on that. You should have found a K value where possible. Leon.
No.
Can't divide 40 by 2. If I go up to 2, where does it get? 8. divided by 2 gives me 40. But not 40 divided by 2. 40 divided by 2 would give me 20, which would be a wrong.
That would be like 0.5.
Okay, number 3, complete the table and sketch a graph of the relationship between the inches of rainfall Y and the number of hours X. Then answer A through C. So they want us to do the graph and the table first. They've given us one value we can start off of. Yes, Maddox?
How I got the rest of the values was dividing 10 and 0.5 by 3.
So when we divide them both by 3, I get 3 and 5/10 for 1. So I know that the K value is actually 3 and 5/10, meaning my next entry would be 7. And then the 4, I'm going to add 3.5 to this, so I would get 14. On my graph, now I know at 1 it's 3.5, I can't really do that one. 2 is 7, actually doesn't hit exactly. The first point that's going to hit directly at a cross point is 4 and 14. So 4, I know it's exactly 14. I can put my dot here. Remember, it is a proportional relationship, so I know I have one there. Once I have 2 points, I can now use my ruler and draw my straight line. I personally would probably add one because 7 is halfway between 6 and 8, so you can get pretty close on that, just to give you that extra line to make sure that you're looking good on that. Okay, what is the rate of change? We just found it, and explain its meaning in the context of the situation. So the rate of change is 3.5. This means there is 3.5 inches of rain every hour. So you needed to have your explanation in there as well. Write an equation to represent the rainfall. Y equals 3.5x. Once I've got my K value, it just goes straight into the equation. Yes?
Is another one like an hour of rainfall equals 3.5 inches of rain?
That would work. You're saying the same thing. If the rainfall continues at this rate, how many inches of rain will fall after 6 hours? So now I just need to do the 6 times 3.5, which I put the decimal on top. So that's going to equal 0, carry the 3, 21. I have 1 decimal place. So it will rain 21 inches in 6 hours. Technically, you could have also done that just by using your graph and saying there's 2 minutes and 4 hours. Put those together, 7 and 14 gives you 21. An app developer projects that he'll earn $20 for every 8 apps downloaded. Write an equation to represent the proportional relationship between the total earnings Y and the number of apps downloaded X. So that was important because it gave us our Y over X, right? So my Y is what I earned, so that's my $20 that goes on top. My X is my apps, which is the 8 that goes on the bottom. Remember, to get my K value, I want to try to get down to 1. So I'm going to take 20 divided by 8, and that's going to give me $2.5 over 1 app. Once I have my K value, now I can write my equation. Y equals 250x. Number 5, the X value increases by 3. The Y value increases by 12. Find the rate of change. Rate of change is just my Y over X. So that gives me the Y is 12, the X is 3. 12 divided by 3 gives me 4 for my rate of change. Write an equation to represent the relationship between the X and Y values. So once I have my K value, Y just equals 4X. The table below shows the relationship between the total sales Y and the number of book textbooks sold X. So I now know my Y over X is going to be 64 over 4. When I do that math, it's going to be equal to 16. What is the rate of change? The rate of change is 16. Write an equation to represent the relationship. Y equals 16x. Oopsie. Nobody stop me. Kind of sad right now. Maddox?
Okay.
Well, I'm on this one, but I just realized what's missing.
Oh, name.
Guess what, guys? The title's missing on your test. That's us testing you to see if you recognize that it's missing. What can we call this? I would call this like rainstorm.
Brainstorm.
You just have to have some title that makes sense. Yes, Jace.
We were trying to see if you were going to catch it.
Oh, I caught it.
You just never said it.
I was giving you guys an opportunity to see if you caught it. Okay, what is the rate of change on our chart? You can actually do your line using your straight edge. Again, find a spot that it hits directly. So here at 50, I know that it's 2, which means it's going to equal 25. So the rate of change is 25. And write an equation to represent it. Once I have my k values, the equation should be really easy, guys. Questions on that page? Did I get everything?
Yes.
That's a question you're going to get quite often to make sure you're following along. It takes Joe 12 minutes to ride a roller coaster 4 times. Create a table to show the relationship between the total time y and the number of rides x. Guess what? They just gave you your x and y values, yes?
Yes.
So, what's missing in my table?
The amount.
My labels. My x is the number of rides, so it should go on top. My y is the total time, so that should go on the bottom. They gave it to us in minutes, so technically we should have minutes on our bottom as well. Am I going to start at 12 and 4? Should that be my first entry? I would make it. Since they gave me 4 entries, I would start with 4 is 12. Then how do I get from 4, what would I simplify by? 11? Okay, so I'm going to divide them by 4 to show that it was 1 and 3. Then I can just go times 2. Gives me 2 and 6. So I'm going to just add 1 and add 3. So I'm going to use additive reasoning and go to 3 and 9. You should have something on your table showing how you're filling in all of those blanks. Write a situation to represent the equation y equals 0.5x. Sure, I'll go to you guys. What do you got, Maddox?
Jack eats half a hot dog and gives the rest to his dog. Jack has eaten hot dogs for 2 weeks now. How much has his dog had?
Okay, the only problem is they're saying it's going to be half of a hot dog per week. We need to have something in that situation that shows a relationship. Joshua?
My friend will give me 50 cents for every bottle flip without it bursting.
Yeah, I like that one a little bit better because you've given me exactly what I'm comparing, right? So my friend gives me 50 cents for every bottle. And I can just stop there. There's a whole bunch of situations you can go, guys, but you got to have something in there about basically half of something. So you have that relationship established. Margie saves $15 of her allowance every 2 weeks. Circle any of the following that represent the relationship between the total amount saved, Y, and the number of weeks X. So it's $50 every 2 weeks. I have that, yes. If I divide them by 2, does that make sense? If I add them, does that make sense? Yes. So A works. Y equals 7 and 5/10 x. Well, that's actually my K value if I look at this. So that one works. Maggie will save $50 after 6 weeks. If I double the 3 to get to 6, I double 2250, I don't get 50. So C does not work. You should add 2 of them circled.
Get 45 instead.
Yes. Macy drives 125 miles and uses 5 gallons of gasoline. Create a graph to represent the proportional relationship between the number of miles driven, Y, and the amount of gasoline used, X. So they've given us the 125 and the 5, so that's where you should start your graph. They've told us it's proportional, meaning it's going to go through 0, 0. Once I have my 2 points, now I can start to draw a line. So this line is actually going to go straight up. And make sure you put an arrow at the end. Guess what happens if there's not an arrow at the end?
And keeps going on forever and ever and ever.
If there's not an arrow,
It's just
it means it stops. Does this relationship stop? No. So would you get full credit? No. Right? Yes.
How far of C number 10 is not?
Because if I look at here, I took that value. What's 3 times 2? 6. So 2250 times 2 is going to be 45. It wasn't 25. Okay. Represent Y, the number of miles, and X, the number of gallons. So again, they give me the 125 over 5, so I can do that. And I do know it's proportional, so I don't have to do the change. I can just use the K formula. 125 divided by 5 is going to give me 25 miles per gallon. So now I can use that to write my equation, Y equals 25x. How many gallons of gas are necessary to travel 350? Once I have my equation, that makes it even easier, because now you can put the 350 in. So if it's 350 for the number of miles, you do have to realize where it is. Y is my number of miles driven, right? So it's going to be 350 equals 25x, meaning I'm going to need to divide them both by 25 in order to find my x. So I take 350 divided by 25, that's going to go 0 and go 1. 25 gives me a 10, bringing it down to 0. 4 minus 100, so they will need 14 gallons of gas. So we need 14 gallons of gas to do the travel. Sweet stuff. They bake specialty cakes. They bake 6 cakes in 2 hours. Create a graph to represent the relationship between Y, the number of cakes, and X, the number of hours. So they gave me 6 cakes in 2 hours. So I know it's going to start here. We do know it's proportional, meaning it's going to go through 0, 0. Now I can go up, use my ruler, draw my line. It should look something like this. Write an equation to represent Y, the number of cakes that can be baked in X hours. So I have 6 cakes in 2 hours equals 3, so that's my K value. Y equals 3x would be my equation. In this situation, what does the ordered pair 4, 12 represent? It means 12 cakes can be baked in 4 hours. Questions on this one? Okay, to our last page. We got 6 minutes left. Let's see if I can get it. Bob's Deep Sea Fishing charges customers a flat fee of $75 plus $25 per hour spent at sea. Complete the table and graph to show the relationship between the cost of fishing trips, it's actually the cost, and the number of hours spent on board the boat, X. Then determine if it's proportional. So at 0, it's going to be a flat fee of $75. So that's going to give me a cost of $75. At 1 hour, it's $25. So 25 times the 1 hour plus the 75 is going to give me a cost of $100. Then it's going to be 25 times the 2 plus the 75, so that's going to give me $125. $25 dollars per hour times the 3 plus the 75 is going to give me $150. 25 hours times the 4 plus the 75 is going to give me $175. So deep sea fishing, I'd add a title. And my first one is 0 is 75, 1 is 100, 2 is 125. I graph this. Is it proportional? Why? I'm sorry? Good. So no, it doesn't go through origin. Realize on your test it might go through origin. You just have to be able to justify your answer. Jeremy can row 2/3 of a mile in half of an hour. How long will it take him to row 1 mile? So if it's 2/3 per 1/2, you have two options. The one I saw most of you guys using today was using proportional reasoning, saying, well, if this is a half mile, I need to multiply by 2 in order to get my denominator to 1. So I multiply that by 2. So that's going to give me 4/3 per 1. So he can go, which simplifies to 1 1/3. So he can row 1 1/3 miles. Technically, the way I would have done that, 23rd, keep, change, flip. So that gives me 4/3. You get the same answer either way. Just make sure you're understanding the reasoning. Yes?
It says it takes, it says how long is it until it's 1 mile?
Oh, thank you. So it would be 1 1/3.
It would be 3/4 of an hour.
3/4 of an hour. I solved the wrong problem. Thank you. And it's on tape too. 2/3 of a mile. I want to know how far for 1 mile. So it's 2/3. I did it backwards. Half hour and 2/3 of a mile. So most of you, from what I saw in your reasoning, would have divided this by 2 to get 1/3. Divide by 2 to get 1/4 for an hour. So then from here you would have multiplied by 3 to get 1 mile. And times 3 gets you 3/4 of an hour. So we'll take him 3/4 of an hour. You can see what happens when you rush, right? Good catch. Thank you for pointing that out. A lizard can lose its tail and escape a predator. Its tail will grow back at a constant rate. After 6 weeks, it's regrown to 3 3/4 inches long. Find the number of inches the tail grew each week. So I'm taking 6 weeks, I want to get it to 1, and it was 3 3/4. So that's feet, inches. Technically, I want to do that backwards, so I'm going to rewrite that 3 3/4 inches in 6 weeks. I want to get that down to 1, so 3 3/4 divided by 6. That's going to become 12 15/4 times 1/6 equals 15/24, which divide both those by 3 is going to give me 5/8. So it grew 5/8 inch each week. Our last one, he's a chef and he's making potato basil. List of ingredients is shown. He poured 1 cup of milk into a soup pot. List the amount of each ingredient to keep the ratios equivalent. So that one was actually pretty easy since it was a 1/3. So you went 1/3 and that became a 1. How did I do that? Yes? Times 3. So I know I'm multiplying each of these by 3. So basically you're multiplying by 3. Good luck, guys. You can go ahead and take off. I'll finish the math and then post the video later. Okay, so we were pretty close to getting done during class. Sorry I missed this last one, but basically what it means is I need to multiply everything by 3 to get to our 1. So I'm multiplying each of these by 3. So I'm going to take the tomatoes, 1 2/3 times 3. So I need to do our slam dunk. We go fast, and then we're going to add the top. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 gives us 5/3 times 3 over 1. Personally, I would do reductions. Make it 5 over 1, so it is 5 cups. Please put the units. For the basil, it's going to be 1/4 times 3 over 1, or 3/4. That's going to be 3/4 of a cup of basil. It's just for the record, that's a lot of basil. And then your chicken broth, 1 1/2 cups. So again, 1 1/2, I'm going to slam dunk. So I'm going to multiply the 2 times the 1, then add the 1, gives me 3/2 times 3 over 1. Now my 3's are both on top, so I can't reduce. That actually becomes 9/2, or 4 1/2 cups of chicken broth. So please take note of everything. What concepts can I ace on the test? What concepts do you need to study? We do have the misfortune of Tuesday is going to be Tuesday is going to be the advisory day, so you won't be able to come in for seminar. So if you have questions, make sure you're trying to hit me up, and I will do my best to help you out in any way I can. Good luck, guys. Oh, and just as a note, just talk to Mr. Vandermaiden, and we are going to let you guys put together a notes page to use on the test. So you can take one blank piece of paper, and you have the front and the back of the piece of paper to do anything you want that you think is going to help you for the test. Personal recommendation, make sure you have all of the formulas that we've given you, especially your K formula, K equals Y over X. So I'm going to put these over here for those of you that are watching the video, get a little extra bonus. Your equation formula, Y equals KX, and your rate of change or slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Those are the 3 basic formulas that you're really being tested on for this test. Do make sure that you're showing all of your work. Guys, that's going to be a major piece of your grades, so make sure that you have that shown. You may want to write a couple of the problems out. If there were 1 or 2 of these problems you weren't quite confident in how to solve, you could actually write the problems out on your paper for the test, and we're not going to say anything about it. Just realize the testing is quite a bit different than it was last year. The questions aren't going to be exactly the same, but the concepts will all be the same. Good luck, guys. Let us know if you have any questions.